Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to our live Instagram takeover by IMG Helping Hands. We are just waiting for a few minutes so our speaker could join us and then we can start from there. Just waiting for the speaker, Dr. Rahila on. Oh, I got a comment, Rahul, from Rahul looking nice. Thank you so much, Rahul. Okay, so I got a request and let's start now.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Hi, Dr. Rahila, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? I'm sorry I need to fix this.
Oh, that's completely fine. So we just started. I was just telling our viewers that welcome to Dr. Rahila who is one of the internal medicine resident at Carl Health Foundation, Illinois. So,
Yeah, thank you.
sorry, yeah. So welcome everybody, and let's start our session.
Are
The
you
first,
able to see me okay? Or do I need to fix anything?
okay, yeah, we don't have to fix anything. That's completely fine. Okay,
Okay.
so first question, which most of our viewers send, they were asking about, like, if any program asked about what's your notion being so a constructive person, and like what have you been doing to improve yourself from the recent few months? So what do you think can be appropriate answer for this question?
Sorry, can you repeat? Like, it is about criticism and what have you been working on to improve it? Is that your question?
Yes, because everybody needs professional development. So if the program asks like what have you been doing from the recent couple of months to improve professionally as well as personally?
Okay, I think just being honest with them, whatever you have been doing initially, I don't think you can make up that answer. Most of the people are studying for, I don't know, step three, doing some observerships, having some research they're contributing to, or probably learning something new or being a part of some innovative project. So yeah, summing that up, professionally, they can say that, I'm trying to work on my communication skills. I'm a part of this observership that, I'm trying to interact more with this healthcare system. I've learned these points. You should definitely have, so one thing I say is whenever there are three things you should always have pointers for: your US clinical experience, your medical knowledge, and other thing is your communication skills. And thirdly, if you have been a part of anything innovative slash research oriented. And then you can put all those pointers into any questions. Like for example, this, what have you been working on? You can say, I've been a part of this project to improve health outcomes in this population in this region. And if you have done that in your US clinical experience, you can say that. I am working on a research project on this topic. I am trying to improve my communication skills by part of an online, I don't know, training program. So I don't think I can give you an answer in terms of like what should everybody say. I think it will be very variable as to what everybody has been doing. I would ask you this question. I think, how would you frame it? Like if someone's asked you, because I think you have been doing a lot of work and to
So
improve your
for
personal and professional. So how would you say this?
yeah, I would answer the question very in a very genuine way, like what ha I have been doing. I would say that from the recent couple of months, I am doing a couple of rotations in the different hospitals, which have residency programs, because I'm getting more exposure how the U.S. healthcare system works. And secondly, being a person other than medicine who loves to talk with other people, to be communicatable with the other person. So I'm trying to do some community outreach projects, like for example I recently did my PTV show in Pakistan. I was live all over Pakistan explaining how we have been helping, and I would also like to discuss the unique agenda which we have been working in the state of Delaware. Like we are working to get the transitional license permit the law to pass. So if we get this law like implemented, this will be a great win for all the IMGs who could practice as a physician before doing residency.
Awesome. That's a great answer. The only thing I would add to it is, a little bit of, enthusiasm and yes, and because I see that in your whatever you have been doing, I think
Okay.
you should be passionate about it when you say it. Yes, I love to be, use adjectives that are meaningful and passionate. Say, I'm loving that, I'm currently a part of this community outreach program, and we have touched so many medical students' lives, so many other students who aspire to be physicians, and I keep getting these, and I'm sure you must be getting so many messages as to how can we be a part of this IMG Helping Hands. You should definitely say that I'm a part of IMG Helping Hands. This is, I think this is a highlight. This should be a highlight of your personal endeavors.
Yeah, so also if I would like to dive deep into your world, like what's the notion of you like being like a constructive person? Like how did you spend your time while you were preparing for the interview last year?
Hmm. Um, So I think it was my second match season. So I had a lot of things. I had a baseline framework on how to how to answer questions. I had written out in my little match notebook. I had a notebook dedicated to the match season.
Okay.
I used to write all the common questions that we are commonly encountered with. And then I used to attend these seminars which people keep conducting and add those questions. I had my answers prepared. I used to, I think, talk with my seniors. A lot of, I had mock interviews with so many people who gave me feedback. I used to note it, and I used to tweak my answers accordingly every time I had a mock interview, and I used to add things. And then by the time of end of the near my actual interview, I would have a solid answer that I have rehearsed and practiced, and I had a good content, and also like in case I come across a question that takes me by surprise, I used to have content on how to tackle it. Then basic things like always use three things. Always use three things, as in whenever you are describing something, make three pointers of it. Like when you ask me personal and professional
Mm-hmm.
things that I've been working on, use three things. Like you said, you did a good job. You said, your rotations. You said your out community outreach, and thirdly, I think you mentioned something else. So these three things, because these things stick to the memory, you cannot just go on and on about one thing.
That's true.
Then in the end, try to summarize it. So all my questions had that, all my answers had that framework.
Oh,
Like, firstly, good adjectives. I would love to talk about myself.
okay.
Yes, thank you for this question. I would love to answer this. And then your body of the question, which body of the answer, which should be three pointers. And in the end, you should always conclude it, because sometimes people get lost, or the listener sometimes is not that attentive. So you need to have that, in conclusion, my clinical rotation, my community outreach interest, and my passion for helping others is what is driving me these days. So
Oh,
that's how summarize it. So it's a good closure. So
yeah,
that's how I practiced it.
that's absolutely true, and I do believe because I have been following you on different social media platform, and you have been helping like all your fellows, your juniors, like how to be one of the best candidate during the interview season. So yeah, I do believe in you. So let's go with the second question which we have received from our members. Like they want to know like now the residency programs are so competitive. They don't just want a person who is just an average. They want a person who can go above and beyond. For example, if any program asks you, how do you or have you ever gone above and beyond in your life with any patient, or if you would like to add an example too with this, that would be great.
Yeah, I think I was asked this question. It was not like exactly framed like how you have framed it, but it was
Okay.
something like, tell me about a time when you advocated about a patient. So it's a question about patient advocacy. So
Okay.
patient advocacy is a term, I think people should know this. Like whenever a patient is not able to vocalize their needs or wants and their rights, you jump in and you advocate for them. So that's called patient advocacy.
Okay.
So what you were saying above and beyond what needs to be done is an example of that patient advocacy. So my answer was that I can recall a couple of things, and one thing that is coming to my mind right now is during the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a lot of influx of COVID-19 patients, and we had this patient from a poor socioeconomic background
Mhm.
who could not afford the treatment that we were providing, especially the remdesivir injection. Now, this person was on a nasal cannula oxygen. He was getting the supportive treatment. And when we told him that, your injection would cost this much, he decided to leave the hospital. And he literally just took his nasal cannula out and he started walking out. And that's when I stepped in. I knew I had to, I could not just let this man walk out of the hospital because he would probably collapse on his way out. So I told him that there are ways I can try to help him. I know that our ward had a charity fund,
Okay.
and people can pitch in it. I told him that we can definitely raise funds for it and collect money, and we can arrange those injections for him. They were like, I think you need to have like 5 or 6 injections at that time. And he agreed to stay. We collected the money. I conducted my attending. There is a Zakat fund also in our ward. This is back in Pakistan. And that's how we mobilized the resources and we ended up helping him. I think it gave me a great amount of satisfaction. And I think I learned from this experience that there are moments when you have to pitch in as a doctor, as a human being, and as a to fulfill your responsibility of a physician.
Yeah, that's a very great answer. So yeah, I do believe all the words the way you explain this answer, but I also believe, for example, this can, if a person is trying to be over enthusiastic, it could actually hurt them. The reason is because if they also want to know what's your professional limit, but actually they want to know that you can go above and beyond for your patients, but they also want to know that do you have professional or personal limits, because everybody, for example, every profession has their limits, and we should be doing everything within our limits.
Very important point, definitely. Because in a US healthcare system, and we come from a different healthcare system, we sometimes are allowed to do things which people here cannot do.
Yeah,
So
that's
I think it's best that you don't create an example and you always say what's true, and then obviously run it through by someone who has been in this US healthcare system.
okay.
Because they will be able to tell you that this is a red flag, this is something you cannot say, this is something that is unethical in their system. So you have to understand this.
Mhm.
And so always, as I say, tweak your answers to what they want to hear.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, let's jump towards the third question, which is, so how well do you take the criticism?
I think I look forward to criticism. Um, I I definitely every end of my rotation I always go back to um, my seniors and my consultants and I ask them how give me feedback because I always am wanting to hear what they want to say about my working experience with them, and I look forward to it because it gives me an opportunity to grow. I think all the important growth that has happened to me in my life is a result of criticism and someone telling me that this is not right and you need to do it this way. And me going back, looking at my work pattern, trying to make changes so that I can improve myself both professionally and personally. I think one example is that when I was doing my New York rotation, is one of my doctors, Dr. Hamid, he told me that I need to learn more about population health because I was working in a primary care clinic. He gave me 3 topics to learn about, which was quadruple aim, population health, and value-based medicine. These were new terms to me. I looked it up. I made a presentation out of it. The next day I went. I wrote all of those things on a whiteboard in his clinic, and I met him 2 years later, and I saw that presentation was still written on his whiteboard. And a lot of students who come there used to get that basic idea through my presentation. So I think I enjoy criticism. I work on it, and it has been going well for me so far.
Yeah, so we got a comment here by Madiha. She said, I would say I believe in feedback-driven improvement. And then she said, I was to work in an environment where I constantly get feedback that so that I can improve. So yeah, that's absolutely true, Madiha. Yeah, because everybody, even a program director has his own weaknesses, and he's also the person who wants to grow personally as well as professionally. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So let's move towards our next question, which is I know there has been a lots of talk about resident autonomy. Just want to know like what's the resident autonomy because most of the candidates are not even aware about this.
In an interview question.
Yeah, because they could ask about like they could create their own questions about resident autonomy. Do you know about resident autonomy? Because we believe in resident autonomy, and many programs have also listed on their websites. I'm not sure about if what exactly they mean by this.
Okay, so resident, I think there are two terms that we should be familiar with. One is
Yeah,
autonomy and one is supervision.
got it.
In
Okay.
a residency program, there has to be a balance between autonomy and supervision, meaning that we come from a different healthcare system, and during the first 6 months, you have to be supervised. You're not as autonomous as we think we can be. All your orders, all your medications, all your plans have to be supervised by a senior or by an attending who goes through your orders and makes sure that you're not making mistake because you're new to the system. You are learning the softwares, you're learning the computer system. We are used to pen and paper, so it's a big transition. So no, I'm not saying you should say this to the interviewer, but I'm telling you that that's what they mean when they say, what do you understand by autonomy? So what I would say is, by autonomy, it means that during the initial months of transition to a new healthcare system, you have to be supervised by your seniors. And then after that short period of supervision, you can transition to autonomy. So I think it is balanced with supervision. It is earned, first of all. Autonomy is earned also because once the senior attending see that you are capable of doing things by yourself without harming the patients or making gross mistakes, then I think until then you have to be supervised. So after that, I think it's autonomy and it is earned. There has to be a balance, and every program is different.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We got a question here. Someone commented, why low scores in the board exams and how to respond to that? A great question. So yeah, how so would you like to go first?
I think it's a very rare question as opposed to what people mostly practice for. They don't really ask you this question, and if they do, I think that's a very mean question. But nonetheless, anybody can ask this. So I think you can definitely make it into your strength. You can say that I believe that life is a combination of ups and downs. Having a low score was definitely a down movement for me, but I did not take it too hard. I was initially a bit sad, but eventually I worked up on a plan, tried to improve, tried to look back and see where I was deficient. I sought mentorship. I joined this organization. I made sure that my next step in the career, be it rotations or research, definitely compensates for that low score. And I learned my lesson, and I think it reflects through my journey because after this, I had these publications, I did these rotations, I innovated these projects, and I learned through this journey that we should not let such setbacks get to you and just come back stronger and never give up.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because what the program wants to know that if you have low scores or if you have any other red flag, are you a person who embrace your failure? And if you are a person who wants to improve, or you are just giving them false justifications that this was due to this, but I don't believe this, right?
Yeah, I
So
think
if
I
you
don't have a solid answer for this right now, but everybody has a story and they should always divide it into, what I did to overcome that, how I am proud of myself. Always never shy away from failures. Never say that, oh yes, don't make that face and don't make them feel like, you underestimate yourself. Just tell them, I think it was the best part, it was the best thing that happened to me because I learned so much from this. Had it not happened, I would not be the person I am right now. And that is true. So always, I think shine on these questions.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So yeah, let's jump towards the next question. So the next question we have is so a common question, but with uncommon answers. Okay, so when did you decide you want to be a physician?
So I think this is people definitely ask this question. Looks like a very basic question, but I think it was also mentioned in my PS, and I say the same thing. Now this is obviously this will be variable with everyone. You have to give a personal touch to this question. There should definitely be a personal background that is very unique to you. Don't just say that, I was trying to help people and, humanity and all that. Everybody wants to do that. So how I used to answer this was that one of my hobbies is that I sketch, or actually was. So, and I'm a very detail-oriented person. Even when I used to, sketch portraits or, delve in my hobbies, I used to ponder over little details. And I felt like when it comes to human body, I think you have to be very detail-oriented, be it to a physical exam or history taking. And, while doing my ward rotations, this reinforced my interest in medicine. And then coming from a background of, a family of educationists, seeing my father, um, work tirelessly, having a school where he used to educate people from impoverished backgrounds. I think when the time came to choose my career, I found medicine to be a perfect blend of, art, science, and service, and that's what solidified my decision to be a doctor.
Yeah, so I guess we also should be realistic here too, which I believe they don't want to listen that you when you were 7 year old or you were in your 10th grade you decided to be a physician, right? Because yeah, that you could like elaborate like that was a time when you did not decide definitely, but you were a person who came to a point that I should become a physician due to this reason. But then when you later on pursued pre-medical, then medical, then it all the other stuff strengthen your uh, to become a physician.
Yeah, I think it definitely needs to be realistic. That's when I say that you have to run all your answers through different people. My answers are not the things that firstly came to my mind. It has been a process of, getting so much feedback and criticism and then rewriting my answers. And I think that's the way to it.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
I mean, it is a good thing to be honest, but you have to be smart about it.
yeah, that's true. So let's proceed towards the last question. And meanwhile, if we have any question from our audience, we can take that. So the last question, which is, so a few programs ask about when they want to know if you have insight about the specialty you're applying. Like for example, they could say if you're applying in medicine, they could ask about tell us a time when you were disappointed in medicine, or tell us a time when you were disappointed in the stuff you have been doing.
Wait. So your question has two components. First, you said, tell me about your specialty interest, and the second part is, sorry, can you say
Yeah.
that?
So the second part is also related to that. That's the first part is the disappointment in medicine, and the second part is disappointment in medicine because so disappointment in you because of medicine.
I can say about the first part. I'm not really sure what the second question is, so I'll try to answer that as I can. I think the first part is that this is also in my personal statement, so I don't know if they will ask. So things that I mentioned in your personal statement, I think they don't ask it. If you have not mentioned it somewhere, they will ask it.
Okay.
Um, or if they have not read your personal statement, and eventually you will have to say the same thing that has already been said in your personal statement. So, yeah, I think internal medicine is, I think it's a personal event. I think I observed this, and this is the same old grandmother story. And it's true also. Like, my grandmother fell ill, and she had like grade 4 bed sores, and we did not have any geriatric center. We don't have even geriatrics at our home institute. So we used to take care of her at their home, and we used to connect different doctors. And me and my sister both were medical students at that time, and we used to connect like neurologists because she had altered mentation. We used to connect dermatologists because she had a bed sore. We used to connect general surgeons, and that's how we used to take care of her. Like, and I learned that this is actually a specialty. This is internal medicine. You have to interact with so many subspecialties and make sure you come up with the best plan possible. And this is what increased my interest in internal medicine. And moreover, the choice of getting into so many subspecialties after you do your internal medicine residency is another attractive aspect of this specialty. And lastly, I think I have gathered a significant amount of adult medicine experience in terms of my rural healthcare experience, 1 year of residency in Pakistan, my tertiary healthcare experience, my house job experience in Pakistan. All of these have solidified my interest in adult medicine, and hence that's why I chose it.
Got it.
Disappointment in medicine is definitely, I would not really call it a disappointment, but
Oh,
I think we are the most overworked people. We are also, we have to deal with life and death and, critical decisions every day that can sometimes lead to burnout. And that's the time when you go back to your bed and having done your best the whole day, but still you sometimes feel like you could do more, or you have not done enough to save someone, and eventually someone loses their life or loses their loved one, and it sticks to you. So I think that is a hard feeling to shrug off sometimes. But then a time comes when you help someone and you make someone smile and save someone, and I think it compensates for that burnout.
okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Wan. And let's, I guess, take a few questions which we have on the chat and wind up. So Madiha is asking, it's very common question, but I want your take on it. Okay, so why should we choose you?
She's asking me, why
Yeah,
should
she's asking you like why should we choose you? Like
okay.
for example, about if a program asks about why should we choose you, so what should a candidate say?
Okay, I thought she was asking you. Okay, so yeah, I think this is a question where you have to summarize all your achievements, because this is a very open-ended question. You can go anywhere with it.
Mhm.
So I would definitely use my clinical experiences, my US clinical experiences, my home country experiences, any innovative project that I've been a part of, anything that makes my CV unique. That's, I think, what you should focus on. I would say this. I think you also don't have to be like arrogant or something. I don't say like I'm the best candidate. You can
Mhm.
say that I'm sure a lot of talented people apply each year, and I think I have belief in myself that I am the best candidate for this residencies because I've never given up on this journey. In my 4 year experience, includes work experience in my home country and in USA, I have learned the power of touching human lives, and I've actively been doing it. Be it my home country experiences when I was working as an in-charge physician in the COVID-19 pandemic, where we used to have like 40 admissions every day, and our resources were limited, but we still managed to get through the that pandemic, and Pakistan did really well in that pandemic. Secondly, when I came to US, I learned so much about the US healthcare system, the biggest market in the world. I came to know about these terms like quadruple aim, population health, and value-based medicine, which was new to me. And I worked really hard to understand these terms. We, in fact, did a great community outreach program that was associated with Mount Sinai, and it gave me immense satisfaction to improve health outcomes in that small community of Brooklyn.
Okay.
Lastly, I think throughout this journey, it has taught me the importance of consistency and perseverance. And I have applied those core values to my journey. I've never given up. I've been working throughout these 4 years, taking my exams, working back to back in different health settings. And I think that makes me a unique person in terms of having a varied work experience, um, a person who gives importance to consistency and perseverance, and who's always looking forward to more professional growth.
Got it. Okay. That's a great answer. Yeah, so we could elaborate that what strength we have. So it's, I guess, the same question. Tell me about your strengths.
Tell
So
me about your strengths. Definitely. So don't get, we should not be,
be
like words
confused.
will be different, but you have
But
your
the answer, yeah,
content that you have to just arrange and just make
that-
sure that you put everything across. And
yeah,
then how you summarize is also important, that you have to make
that's
sure
true.
that you summarize it so that it sticks to their memory.
Yeah. So the next question we have is, okay, quality improvement projects that you have done in the past. So what could we say that?
If you have done something, you should definitely say this, and you cannot come up with.
I guess we could give an example. For example, let me give you an example. For example, if you are working in a hospital, you are working for the you are doing hand hygiene observations and documenting in the system as well. You could bring that up, that how you contributed to improve the percentage of the infection in the hospital. So if they could, whatever you have, it's just one of the example which I would give
Yeah,
them.
I think it's a very important topic. It's definitely something that makes you unique. I used to bring that a lot in my interviews.
Okay,
QI projects, there's this PDSA cycle, like
that's
plan, do, study, and then act. So I used to say, actually, someone asked me this also because I mentioned it in my CV in one of the interviews. And I told them that I was working in a long-term acute care facility, which is a facility where, a lot of patients who are chronically on vent were there for like 6 months or years, and it's like a long-term ICU care. So I was a part of it, and I realized that we were working on a QI project to improve the weaning process from a ventilator, so this was our basically goal, to improve that weaning process, because sometimes it would take some days to weeks for a person to be weaned off from let's say mechanical ventilation to a trach collar. And I interviewed a lot of respiratory therapists. I came to know what they think is making this process delayed, and then I collected data. I gave those points to the medical director of that hospital, and they were studying it, and that was the end of my rotation. So I contributed to that QI project that way.
okay, got it. Yeah, I guess we are done. We have so many questions, but we would like to answer later on. But I guess,
We can answer if you want. I don't mind if
oh,
you.
that's we can go on. Yeah, so that's completely fine then.
Yeah.
So I got a question here. If three interviewers in the same program ask the question, tell me about yourself. Should you answer the same way or different?
You should answer the same way because you are yourself. Nothing has changed. So I think if there are different people separated by different Zoom rooms, then you should answer them same. But if there are three people sitting on the same room, and I don't think they will repeat this question if they're sitting together. So I think you can definitely do it. I used to do it, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. So another question we get, thank you, sir, for helping us. How do we answer, tell me about yourself in less than a minute without having cut down all the things that truly defines or define me apart from
I
medicine?
think it's a very important and difficult thing to do. I used to hate it when I had to trim my answers because I had to fit that three like 2 minute or like 90-second frame because we are told that we have to do that. But unfortunately, that's the case.
Okay,
One important thing is to learn about précis writing. If there are 3 lines, I am sure that there is a way you can summarize those 3 lines into one line. Takes time. You have to talk to someone who is, obviously more proficient in English language.
that's true.
They will tell you how to squeeze your lines. That's how you will squeeze your big answers into small answers. And it is important to do so because you cannot go on and on one answer. So do that. I won't say, okay, cut your answer or remove this part. Don't do that. Just summarize it.
Yes, sir, right. Yeah, that's true. So let's move to the next question. Challenges that you faced when you transition from your previous healthcare system to the US healthcare system. This was one of the questions PD asked me in the last interview.
Mm.
This is a common question, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very common question. I think I one of the PDs also asked me, and I didn't really answer them at that point, but now I can definitely answer this. I think the 3 important things about US healthcare system are evidence-based medicine, research-driven learning environment, and third thing is patient-centered care. Now, if you don't know these things, Google them and learn about them, because I cannot teach you in this short video thing, because you have to know these things, like what do they actually mean, because everything is driven by data. That's where evidence comes from. And then there's a huge emphasis on research, and thirdly, your patient-centered care, in which your health plan is tailored to the patient's needs. So I think you need to learn that, and that's your US healthcare system. Now, what is difficult is I come from a system which did not used to have this. It was a pen and paper system. We used to have a lot of patient workload. It has its goods and bads. You never blame your home country experience. So what I would say is this: I had gathered a lot of great clinical experience from my home country experience, and then I translated that into learning more about evidence-based medicine and then applying it to this healthcare system. And it took me some time to get a hang of it, but eventually, I think it has been applauded by my colleagues and every mentor that I have met. And it has been a great blend of both healthcare systems. Um, so yeah, I think have those 3 pointers for US healthcare and 3 pointers for your home country experience, and make sure they're mostly positive points, and then mix them and say that you're working on it, or that's how you are blending them both.
Yeah, that's true. We should be answering in a structured way. But whatever like question we should write the question and prepare accordingly. Just write how we can frame exactly during the interview. So
Yeah,
it works. So, yeah. So well, I guess we don't have any more questions. So thank you so much, Dr. Awan, with us, and I hope this session has been very helpful for us and as well as all the members who are listening. And we will be doing a next session next week. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.
sure, no problem. I think it's a great platform that you are doing,
Thank
and
you so
good
much.
luck to everybody who has been doing it. Just believe in yourself. The
That's
most important thing is you need to believe in yourself. Never let this low scores or being from under-resourced background limit you from giving your best to shining self. So good luck.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Fi aman Allah. Take care, Zan.
Bye bye.
Allah.
Love this.